Good morning, geometry. So let's go over a few things. Number one, how grades are. So again, traditionally, how we had it was our test 50%, classwork 25%, participation 5%, quizzes are 10%, and our final at the end of the semester is going to be 10%. Obviously, we're not going to have a final now. So because we're not going to have a final, that just means that the tests, classwork, participation, and quizzes are now worth a little bit more. So you can see those here. Um, Now, that's already how your grade has been calculated because a final hasn't been put in yet. So it's not like your grade's going to shift around at all anymore if you don't do anything. Okay. So to help us hopefully clear up a few things, I've decided to condense all our assignments into one document, which I'll keep adding to as we go. And how I'm going to do it from here on out is any assignment that you do, with the exception of the Unit 4 and this 7.1 quiz, and I'll explain those in a second, will be counted as extra credit. Now, that means that you can get, if you already have 100% of your homework done, like let's try it out. If you already have, let's go here, 100% of your homework, let's say you have 75% on your test, 100% of your homework done, you've done 100% participation, you got like a C on all your quizzes. That would get you about an 83. But if you do some of these assignments for classwork, that's going to add on top of what you already have. So maybe instead of 100%, maybe you get 110% in classwork. That means that this grade here goes from an 83 to an 86. So anything you do will add on top of your grade, and it will add on top of your grade faster than it would normally, if I did the math right. So there's a couple categories. When you look at this document, if it doesn't show up, you can click this document outline. And there's a couple categories, right? We have test points, classwork, participation, and quiz. So these are the different areas that I'm going to be putting assignments in. I'll put assignments in this table form. So now let me just walk you through each of these. And this is a list of how you can get additional points. And I'll be providing more links and updating the document as I go. The first one is test points, again, because that is worth the most to your grade. So a big part, though, is, hey, you could do that test retake if you want. It's available on Canvas. If you don't know where Canvas is, you can just click the link, and it'll send you right over to the dashboard. Once you're at the dashboard, if it doesn't, it'll have you sign in with your Google account. You just go to Geometry Barnhart. So it's really the only geometry class on your dashboard. And then under Unit 4 test, you have the Unit 4 test retake. That will allow you to take the Unit 4 test as many times as you need. If you're having trouble with it, please let me know. Additionally, when I mentioned the quiz earlier, you can also take the 7.1 quiz as many times as you need. That is that quiz from the first 2 weeks of distance learning. Okay? So, other than that, some other ways for us to get some test points is going to be through Khan Academy, because a big thing, especially with math, is math just builds on each other. And so you learn something in kindergarten and then you use it in first grade, and first grade goes to second grade goes third grade. So if you forget a few things in kindergarten, and I mean, kindergarten was a long ways ago for a lot of us, right? I mean, pretty much all of this was. By the time we get to geometry, we've forgotten, maybe we didn't get taught that day, we were sick, maybe the teacher was out. There's so many reasons why there's holes. So I want us to use this time to really, go back and start, as Khan Academy is sort of famous for, get over some mastery of that. Because as we start filling those gaps, then the math starts to become a little easier. And a big reason why we despise math is because we have gaps from kindergarten and first grade and third grade and sixth grade. And, we forgot some weird algebra trick they taught us in eighth grade. And algebra 1, that's just a blur. What the heck happened there? And then, come geometry, come algebra 1, come all these other classes, they ask you to remember and pull stuff out of your head and use it from third grade. They ask you to pull stuff from first grade, from fifth grade, from sixth grade. But if we had forgotten if it was a blank hole, that makes it harder. And when things are harder, I don't know about you, but at least I get frustrated when things are harder. When it's more difficult to do something. For me in school, it was English, trying to write papers. I learned later that, hey, there's a rhythm to writing papers, and I was missing some of those gaps from my earlier education. So if you go to Khan Academy, you should, see your dashboard sort of like this after you log in. Each of you have been added to my class on Google Classroom, but these are the points for mastery levels. So again, Khan Academy tracks your mastery level. If you receive 80% mastery, you'll get whatever points here. So 80% mastery in kindergarten math, that's going to be 1 point. And that is a 1 point of extra credit to your test. Now, remember, the tests are out of 100 points, which means if I pass kindergarten math with an 80%, then that's 1% higher on my test that I just got. If you pass it with 100%, then, hey, that's 2 extra percent to your test grade. So think about here, at least for our tests, think about this in percents on top of your test grade. So like, obviously algebra 1 here, they get more as you go, but algebra 1, that's 25% on top of your test grade. So that's a huge chunk. And some of these lower ones, they're going to be easy. So it might be easy to knock out, 3, 4, 5, 6. Heck, it might even be possible to knock out all of them. But you'll go to your Khan Academy dashboard, and over here, easiest way is just click on courses. Now, you see I'm only 1% in geometry. I need to work on it. But let's say I go to kindergarten. We won't go to preschool. They send us to a different website. So these are all the things that Khan Academy thinks that, kindergartners should know. You could, go into here. You could click Get Started. And then you could, watch the video. And then it'll give you some problems. You could just click and do all these problems here on the side. That's something you could do. Especially at these lower levels, what I'm going to suggest, and then, right, there's a quiz. You can collect up to 400 mastery points, right? The more mastery points, it looks like, let's see, 1,300 are possible. So 400 is a good chunk of the way there. And unit test level up, you could collect all of them if you were to get everything right. But what I'm going to suggest, so you could click on an individual thing, go down, do the unit test or the quiz, and that would get you a starting. What I'm going to suggest, actually, is I'm going to go back one screen, is once you click on the course. So all I did was I went and I clicked on kindergarten because I'm just going to start from the bottom, and now we're here. So there's a course challenge. This is going to be the quickest way for you to figure out what are the things that I'm good on, what are the things I'm not. So if you just click course challenge, bingo, it says, okay, are you ready for a challenge? 30 questions, 30 to 45 minutes. Now, maybe it's not going to take you 30 to 45 minutes because, let's just do a few questions here. Man, how many acorns do you see? Oh, okay, you see how hard this one's going to be. Obviously, it's 5. And if okay, Mr. B counts wrong. So, okay, we're going to go on. Oh, okay, try again. Okay, it's 4. Hey, once you got it right, it's going to tell you can keep sort of going. If you need a draw, if you need to, think this out, if you don't have paper next to you, whatever you need. But then once you're done, which number is greater? Well, it's 8. Again, these are sort of easy questions because this is kindergarten math. But there may be something in here that we just have a hard time on for a sec. That's totally fine. This is you going at your own pace. I'm not going to work through this anymore, but again, the idea is we'd go there. You don't have to start kindergarten. You could say, hey, you know what? I'm going to start at third grade. I encourage you to do the same thing though. Scroll to the bottom. These are all the things, again, understanding fractions, division. Oh, fractions. That's a hard one for a lot of us. Hey, look, doing a little geometry here. I'd still encourage you take that course challenge, because what's going to happen after you take it is it's going to give you a bunch of mastery points for the stuff that you got right, and the stuff that you didn't, it'll highlight those. So it might highlight, hey, measurement you need to work on. Okay, well then all I need to do is go to measurement. If measurement's the only one I need to work on to master this whole course, I don't need to take the whole course exam again. I just need to come in here and watch the videos, do some practice, take a quiz, or hey, just take a test on measurement if that's what I need to improve. And then, like I said, when it'll show you your percentage. So right now here I have a 1% on geometry, 1% on 7th grade, 8th grade. So like if I was to click here, see it shows me I have a few of the mastery points. I have this much out of the total available. Again, 80% will get you this amount of points. 100% will get you this amount of points. Again, those are extra credit points, so they're worth a little bit more to your grade than if I just added them in as an extra test grade. But that's as far as test. Let's go to classwork. Classwork is going to, I'm going to add to this. I only have one in here right now. But if you go to crash course study skills, now, again, classwork's 25% of our grade. Just like I want to have the test points used in this time for us to fill in those gaps, I hopefully want to use these classwork points for us to gain some of those skills and practice some of those things that maybe we didn't do during the school year as well, or maybe we need some practice on. Again, if you just click the link, it sends you to the playlist. My internet, there we go. So there are a total of 3 like note-taking and recording skills, videos. There's 3 in productivity. There's another 3 in exams, and then there's one final one for a total of 10 videos. Okay, so there's 10 crash course videos. If you'd like,
Hi, I'm Thomas Frank.
you could watch the preview, but that's not required. You don't have to. And so to earn some classwork points for this assignment, I want you to watch an episode of Crash Course Study Skills and then take notes on what the main points are. What were the main things that they wanted you to get out of that? So on the taking notes, off the top of my head, I mean, I've already watched it a bunch of times, but they're probably going to bring up maybe some different note-taking styles. So maybe take some notes on your own style, or maybe draw out or look at how they're taking notes. What did they talk about notes? Do they talk about if you should highlight, how you should highlight? I don't know why I'm stuck on highlighting right now. That's something I think a lot of you guys like to do. So take some notes on each of these videos. They could be bullet points just on, hey, I think the main points, the main things that they wanted us to get out of this video were these 7 things. Bingo. That is simply that assignment. And you'll get 2 points of extra credit classwork assignment for every episode. So again, total of 10 episodes, so possible total of 20 points for this. Again, as we go, I will keep adding to these lists. If you have thoughts on an assignment and you're like, hey, can I don't know. If you have a thought on something you'd like to do and want to know if you can get points for it, ask me. And maybe we can make a cool assignment for everybody to participate in. Speaking about participation, remember, participation is about 5 to 6% of your grade. But again, this is extra credit on top of that. I'm going to keep adding to this, but here's a few simple ones. Write a thank you letter to someone. Now, I'd like you to write something more than just, hey, thanks for whatever. I'd like you to elaborate. Explain to them why you're thankful for them. What about it? What about them, or what about something that they did helped you? Or, I mean, especially, right now, we could all use a little bit more good getting spread around, and a little bit more thankfulness and cheer. So, if you write a thank you note to someone, you'll go ahead and get 2 extra credit points. Okay. Another one is find Venus in the night sky. I'm going to be posting one up, I think, in the classwork assignments of later, of how you can calculate using triangles how big the Earth is, or where things are in the sky, how to sort of figure out where you are on the Earth using triangles. But we can start out with just finding planets. We've talked about them in school at some point, probably, I'm guessing 7th, 8th grade, maybe earlier. But have you ever actually seen a planet? So Venus is out right now. You can find it if you look towards the west after sunset. So, I mean, as I record this, it's about 4:30 or so. It's a little bit past. It's a little bit west of, like, if I looked straight up into the sky, like straight above me. But because the sun's out, it's really hard to see it. But as the sun goes down, you'll start to see this really bright thing. It's not like as bright as a street light, but for a star in the sky, it's like the brightest thing up there, and that's Venus. That is a planet that the sunlight is reflecting off of. So that, I feel like, is pretty neat. And so if you find that and take a picture of it, write about it, draw it. Hey, draw it in the sky. I got my own little crude drawings of where Venus is in the sky. That'll net you 2 participation extra credit points. Lastly, as we just talked about earlier, there's this 7.1 quiz. That'll cover, again, finding the angles inside and outside of a shape. That's what we covered in those first 2 weeks of distance learning. Again, if you have any questions on this, please let me know. I'm going to keep adding to these lists, by the way, as well. Testing, the main thing here is going to be Khan Academy and that retake, because I really want us to fill in those gaps in our knowledge and go over things that we can practice on that we're going to use in the rest of our math classes. And some of the stuff is just good to know for good math skills for our future. Then our classwork, I'll add in some more things to try to incorporate a little bit more of that geometry. And then participation is just going to be some hopefully fun things that you guys can do that hopefully won't take you that long, but could be fun if you did a little bit of it and get out there and learn. So again, if there are any questions, please contact me. I apologize for not being too accessible in the last about a week and a half or so. I was pretty under the weather, but working through that, just like we're also working through this right now. So I want to thank you guys so much, and I miss you guys a lot. But let me know if you guys need anything. And other than that, good morning, geometry.